Monsignore, would you like to tell me, in short story, how have you become a priest?
I think I wanted to be a priest from a very early age, from about the age of 10 or 11. But this was the time of the Second World War, 1939. I had to join the RAF. After coming out of the forces, I applied to the diocesan seminary, and they said they were sorry they hadn't a place for me. My parish priest advised me to write to the Bishop of the Diocese of Monavia because they were short of priests. Monavia in those days covered almost the whole of Wales. And I wrote to the bishop and he asked me to come for an interview, and he accepted me as a student for the priesthood and sent me to the English college in Valladolid in Spain.
And can you tell me something about your involvement with Czech Republic?
One of the teachers in our school of St. Joseph's in Port Talbot told me he was going to pay a visit to Brno and to the bishop's school there. I replied by asking him to give me a full report when he came home. He was full of admiration for the school, and he said that the younger students wanted to come to Wales, to Port Talbot. The people of Port Talbot got together and arranged for the students to be entertained in their homes. They spent 2 weeks with us. This was a wonderful exchange of company, exchange of the pupils and parents of St. Joseph's Port Talbot and the students from Bishop's School in Brno.
And as I remember, you mentioned that there was a great inspiration coming from Cardinal Basil Hume.
Yes, as Cardinal Hume had said that after the war we had a duty to help the people in the East, particularly in Poland and the Czech Republic. And so we were very delighted to welcome these young students to Port Talbot and St. Joseph's School. They told me that there were other students who were taking their final examinations, but that they would love to have been able to come. So I asked them to give me the address of one of these pupils, who was Indra Fogaril. He answered my invitation by saying he had 5 other friends who would like to come too. I was delighted with this. We met them at the coach station in London and brought them down to Port Talbot, to my parish of Margam, and they spent 2 very happy weeks with us there. It was almost like a little seminary.
And I think that was the beginning of the great adventure.
That was the beginning of my connection with Czech Republic.
Yeah.
And they invited me to come back to Czech Republic, where I would be very, very welcome.
So what was your impression about the Czech Republic in those days?
When I came to the Czech Republic in those days, I felt a little sorry for you all, because compared with our standard of living, you seem to be rather poor. You hadn't any cars and had to rely on public transport, and your accommodation was in the early stages of development. I was filled with joy during my stay there, because you were also very friendly and hospitable to me.
And how did you like the work of Podané ruce among drug addicts in those days in Brno?
I was very impressed, because I had to stay at the first house for drug addicts that had been founded by Indra, and I was very impressed with the work that was being done there.
Very good. And do you still remember my ordination in the year 2000 in Ostrava?
Yes, I remember first of all going to the seminary to the first meeting.
All right.
Meeting my friend, and then I went out again for his ordination to the diaconate, and again especially for his ordination to the priesthood, where I assisted the bishop in the Mass of ordination.
Thank you. And Monsignore, of course, I know that you've been a Vicar General of the Manivia Diocese for a long time, so I would like to know, from your perspective, what are the main needs and challenges for the priests here?
I was first asked to be a second Vicar General in the very large diocese of Manivia. I was in the south of the diocese, but I was also parish priest of a large scattered parish, and therefore it was rather difficult for me to fulfill my essential duties as a Vicar General. After some time in 1984, it was decided that we needed a third diocese in Wales. And so the Diocese of Manivia was divided into two, Manivia being the southern part of the diocese. And I was therefore then the Vicar General of this smaller Diocese of Manivia. Manivia is the Latin for the Welsh Manu, which was the place where St. David in the 6th century founded his monastery.
And if you think about your work as a Vicar General in this...
My work as a Vicar General was somewhat difficult, because although my bishop said a Vicar General should not be burdened with the parish, the shortage of priests in the diocese entailed my having the work of a parish priest as well as that of Vicar General.
And what was maybe difficult or challenging for you as a Vicar General working with the priests here in the diocese?
My main challenge was to try to bring the priests together, because even the new diocese of Manivia was quite large and scattered, and the problem was to bring the priests together. We managed We managed partially to do that, but I always regretted that we didn't have the facilities to bring the priests from their rather scattered parishes more frequently.
And from your experience, what do you think, what is the most important for the priests here?
What is most important for the priests, I think, is to know one another and to meet one another and to come together to discuss their various problems.
Thank you. And so I mentioned to you already some of our activities, what we are trying to do in Ostrava, in a Trefa Center, in our parish house in Ostrava Radvanice. And what is your impression, or what do you think about it?
I was delighted when Father told me he was getting the priests to come to his parish house centre and to discuss their problems. That was exactly what I would like to have been able to do in our diocese of Menevia, but was prevented from doing so because of its large scattered nature.
Thank you. And do you have any recommendations to the priests in general? Priests here, priests in Czech Republic?
I think in general, priests here, especially and also in Czech Republic, that they should meet more frequently, get to know one another more deeply, and should not cut themselves off from the family of priests.
Thank you. And do you think, are there any abilities they should learn more, which we are maybe lacking in the seminary formation?
Yes, in the seminary formation up to now, which has been rather remote from the actual work of a priest with the people in the parish. There needs to be much more training in the seminaries of dealing with parishioners